SHINee's Lee Taemin enlisted in the military band on May 31st, 2021 for his mandatory term. However, SM has just released a statement in regards to Taemin's service changes. So, let's talk about it. Taemin, as you all may already be aware of, is a member of the successful SM entertainment group SHINee, as well as Super M. Taemin has also released 5 studio albums of his own, 6 EPs, and 9 singles thus far. He's received 37 nominations and 13 wins so far as a soloist. Taemin is also a beloved member of the entertainment community, even being coined with the title The Idol's Idol, according to Wiki. Now, Taemin has definitely been missed ever since he's enlisted in the military. Fans have been sending their love and support, as well as Taemin posting pictures and updates here and there. Every able-bodied South Korean male must serve at least 2 years in the military regardless of their occupation. So this does not exempt idols, which many new fans, typically the armies, have come to realize. In Taemin's case, though, he had about 1 more year and some months to go before he was done with the traditional service. But according to SM Entertainment, he will no longer be serving the rest of his time in the military. According to Soompi, this is what the statement SM Entertainment released. As of January 20, I'm sorry, you guys, let me start that over. This is SM Entertainment. As of January 14th, Taemin has been transferred from the military band to supplementary service. Due to the symptoms of depression and anxiety that Taemin has been suffering from before his enlistment, he continued to receive treatment and therapy even while carrying out his service. However, because of his symptoms recently worsening, the military determined that it had become impossible for him to continue his military life and treatment at the same time, and he was accordingly transferred to supplementary service. Therefore, Taemin plans to fulfill his military duty as a public service worker. We apologize for giving you cause for concern through this sudden news, and we will continue to focus on Taemin's treatment in the future and do our utmost to ensure that he can find stability. Thank you. Wow. So, I'm sure the community, myself included, can agree that SM finally stepped in at the appropriate time. Now, I say finally because it's no secret that several of their artists have self-harmed themselves due to depression and lack of mental support. I mean, after losing Junghyun and Sully, I'd hope that they'd monitor and care for their idols more intently, so I'm relieved to hear that they have pulled the cord on Taemin's military service. Although he will continue to work through the rest of his term, at least will be in an environment that is better suited for his condition. Now, the way South and North Korea is set up makes me beyond grateful that men aren't subjected to mandatory military service like that here in my country. Imagine making a regular, sweet, lovable panda into a war machine. That's literally what they tried to do to our Taemin. So I'm glad SM stepped up and said, no, this is not going to happen. You're not going to do this to him. We're taking him out, such as them forcing him to continue his time despite his struggles. That would have been really messed up. I don't think the public would ever forgive SM if they had tried to force Taemin to continue his term. I think they made the best choice, whether they secretly had their own best interests in mind or Taemin's. I'm just glad that he's out of there. Now, we all understand that mental health is kind of still not supported that well in South Korea. It's still kind of taboo. It's not really as heavily advocated as it is in the West. So this is a huge step in the right direction. And I also had no idea that Taemin was dealing with this before he even enlisted. Maybe the looming thought of his enlistment approaching, maybe that like started to make him go down this spiral, and then like once he got in it, his nightmares came true and it just like worsened, like who knows what these guys have to go through. I've seen pictures of the soldiers literally lined up on against each other, like making like a human wall border, basically just like literally watching each other for like hours and days on end, just to see if the enemy is gonna like make a move or something. Like I've literally seen those types of pictures, and it's just so sad to think that Taemin had to go through stuff like that. And not just Taemin, just all the men. Like they have to do that. Like that's crazy. But again, like it's a different country, different setup. I don't really know. But this does beg the question to me. Like it really makes me think of all the men who aren't idols and who aren't protected by big agencies that have to undergo these mandatory military service terms despite their crisis and their cries for mental help, like mental health help. Like, what about those guys whose stories aren't told or aren't known? Is it just as easy for them to convert to alternatives such as public service as it was for Taemin? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm glad that Taemin got out of there, but it just makes me think of all the other men who may be going through stuff like that too. Like, do they also get a pass? Like, do they also receive the resources and the help that they need so that they're not in such a dark place? I would hope so, but I have a hard time imagining the military being as compassionate with everybody. I'm actually interested in what goes on behind the scenes with North and South Korean military bases. So if you guys would like me to do a deep dive on that subject, I know it's different from like the music stuff, but seeing as idols are tied to this type of work in this service, it will kind of tie in, because this is something that all Korean men have to go through, but it does kind of take away from my normal type of content. So if this is something you guys would like to see, let me know. Now, I was curious to see what you guys had to say and what your thoughts were on Taemin's service changes, so I went to the comment section, and this is what you all had to say. One says, "It's so sad and so scary to hear that his depression and anxiety are worsening. I'm glad that he's transferred now. As a public service worker, he'll have a degree of normality, like going back home to his own bed each day. Those little things often make a big difference. Wishing him the best." Edit. I wonder if this means his enlistment period will be longer, since PSW usually serves 24 months. Interesting. Someone responded, "Yes, his enlistment period will be longer. He will receive a notice from the camp when he is starting as a public service worker." Well, I'm pretty sure he will take a longer sentence than having to stay there in that type of military base environment. So, good for him still. Another one says, "The private group I'm in is mostly older fans, and this is something we had talked about before he went in. The other members tried to get him to enlist when they did so he wouldn't have to go through it alone. Taemin is someone that needs to feel safe, like he's secure, and he needs a good support system to manage his anxiety and depression. The group has talked about raising him and taking care of him a lot in the past. I hope this change will help him and that the members in his family will be able to provide more support, since he'll be able to contact them more easily. Even for a regular everyday person, depression and anxiety are difficult, but to be an idol in doing your mandatory military service, it has to be his own kind of personal hell. Everyone knows you, there is no privacy for the most part, and your life is dictated by other people 24/7. Yeah, that is really, really hard. And yeah, Taemin is the maknae of his group, meaning he is the youngest. He is the baby. He debuted when he was only 14 years old. So his hyungs raised him, coddled him, protected him, and was very much so there with him. The others have, did their service time, I guess. I'm not sure if anyone else still has to do it, but he, for the most part, would have done a lot better if he did it with them. And I wish he would have done that. I don't know why he didn't, or maybe he just wasn't allowed to at the time. I don't know. So Another one says, reading things like this gives me anxiety, especially when it says worsening. Mental health is a very painful to overcome, and that's true. Another says, it is, but I'm sure it worsened because of being stuck there without even being able to perform in the military band like he was supposed to. It was a huge change of routine, so most likely now with being a public worker, it will get better since he'll be able to go home sometimes and things like that. That's true. Another person says, I hope you get better. I hate articles like this. Sometimes it really scares me, but take your time getting better, and I hope you get the support you need. I love you so much. Oh, so sweet. Somebody else says, my ever precious angel Taemin, I'm beyond proud of you for all that you've done thus far and how strong you've been. I want you to know that I'm right behind you and will continue to fight in your corner and support you. I love you so, so, so much, my baby, and take care always. Taemin supporters are just as cute as him, I swear. Someone else says, I hope no one makes him feel bad about this. Depression and anxiety isn't something to be taken lightly, especially considered what happened with Jung Hyun. Exactly. I hope nobody gives him flack for this because this is the best case scenario. The fact that he was pulled out of there, like this, his result could have ended like way differently. So I hope people aren't giving him a hard time. Don't make him feel bad. Because I'm pretty sure, like, as a Korean, he wants to fulfill his duty traditionally, like how everyone else before him has done, his hyungs and possibly his father and things like that. The other men role models in his life. I'm sure he's probably beating himself up about it because he's just going through so much. He has a lot on his back. So please, nobody send him hate or disgusting opinions and things like that because he doesn't need it. He doesn't need to see that stuff, and I hope he doesn't even go searching for it. I hope he spends some time off of the internet and just focuses on what he has to do and doesn't let those voices eat him up inside because we all have little voices in our own head that make us doubt ourselves. So you don't need to look for it and like try to confirm those voices, so yeah, that was a really good message. Another person said, I was thinking the exact same thing. I hope that he will be okay. Another says, Taemin, be healthy always. We love you and are waiting for you. Another says, I hate that it had to be announced like this. I can't imagine that it would help with his mental health. I hope that he's being taken care of and that he's receiving the treatment and rest he needs. This is true. Another one says, I'm so worried about him. Like, when his depression is that bad that he can't even go to military service, he must be in a really bad condition. Ugh, I hope he gets better. Someone else said, I'm so worried about him. Like, when his depression is, oh, sorry, I just read that one. Another person said, to our sweetheart Maknae, we are waiting for your return safely and healthily. Take all the time you need to do what you need to do. Eat well and don't think too much. We love you forever and always. Someone else says, I don't know what that means, but they have like that suspicious thinking emoji face. Like, I don't know, but it's to that. Another person said, I hope you have over whatever difficulties that you're facing and become more happy and satisfied. I guess they're trying to say, I hope you get over whatever difficulties that you're facing. Someone else says, oh, sweetheart, you got this. You'll get through this. I swear. Please take care, Taemin. And I and other Shawals love you so very much. This is true. I'm so glad to see nothing but supportive messages. Taemin, for me personally, I hope you feel better and take as much time as you need to recover. Only you know what you endured that made your condition deteriorate the way it did. So just please feel better and know that you have the whole world supporting you if you need anything at all. Do not look at anything negative. Just focus on the positive and know there's so many people in your corner that care about you more than those who are rooting against you. You've always been our little sweetheart and we love you. And this is coming from a long time Shawal. So thank you, and I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you on the next one. Salam.